This sorting is just to get an inventory and account, and then it's all going in a bag to get washed at a later date. You never know, especially in these virus times, what's lurking on the bricks. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I've got down to Des Moines recently, and as you know from my introduction to the store, there's a little hobby shop there called JCD and Hobby. I did take a longer look at one of the first times I went there for a Lego haul, and I was able to get back here in June, so right at the end of June. And it was a decent haul. They actually had some new pieces, so let's just take a look at what I picked up. So I'm sorting by piece type here, as I've covered. That's kind of what I do for my collection. Actually, this sorting is just to get an inventory and account, and then it's all going in a bag to get washed at a later date. You never know, especially in these virus times, what's lurking on the bricks. So pretty good selection. Was able to kind of pick through most of the different bins there. Spent about an hour filling up these little guys. $10 for one of these small bins, and I can usually get a couple hundred pieces in, so definitely worth it by piece count, or if you go pricing by piece by itself. But then if you start looking at some of the nice exclusive elements that are just there to pick up, and you start getting more of those than your average piece, it starts to become pretty valuable in terms of just what you have as a lot and what you're able to pick up. So brick types, plain. I ended up trying to find some of these translucent 1x1s, orange, blue, this interesting kind of translucent brown pillar piece, and then some of our other not quite so common colors like our dark red, orange, and azure colors. Just find some basic bricks. These are actually our apple green, so a little bit of a lighter green for those, and our orange juice color that I like so much for some reason. Interesting piece here, 1x3 pillar, dark brown, got two of those. So cool yellow 1x2, and then this printed chocolate milk carton. Pretty happy to find that. Slopes, a similar story, nothing really particular, just what caught my eye and stood out from the mix. So some of these dark green 1x3, or 2x3 rather, interesting 2x6 modified slopes. Found a kind of a stash of those. Sand green, dark blue, brown, and then these printed ones, well, besides the clear green, a printed white one, and then these two were actually exclusive to one set, the Bounty Hunter Pursuit, that I looked at a while back. So kind of interesting to see those out in the wild. Kind of made me wonder if the rest of the set was mixed in there, but again, didn't really have the time to sort through all of the bins today. They sort them by color at JCD, and so it's just like a row of white pieces, a row of red, and then the more uncommon colors like this orange juice and nugget kind of have their own little bin, or maybe just one or two bins. Some interesting cheese slopes. Again, this is the apple green, so harder to find those. Dark brown, dark orange, and then this is the medium blue that glows under black light. Sand blue inverted slope there. Some curved bricks and Technic ones and textured ones. So just kind of picking those out. The pieces that are harder to find in sets, usually that's what I go for when I'm looking at bulk. And then they also had like a fresh stash of regular nugget bricks as well from maybe a modular. So grabbed as many of those as I could. Okay, let's look at some plates and tiles now. First thing you'll notice are these interesting printed 2x2s and a couple printed 1x2s. This map we've seen before, that's Indiana Jones, $100 bills. I think that's a Teenage Ninja Turtle license plate. These I have not seen before. The ×2, that is a print, and then this old tree. Now the tree I think could be something from back in the 90s, like Fabuland or something like that. The ×2, I'm going to guess that's from the line of Lego games. That's late 2000s, somewhere in there. It was nice to see these 1x2 or 1x1 quarter round tiles. Those are pretty recent mold. So that means JCD and Hobby is keeping things pretty well stocked in terms of getting new pieces in. I did go through and spend a lot of time finding all these 1x1 round tiles. They had just a bin of 1x1 elements in round. So these were all mostly at the bottom. Had to dig a little bit, but basically a way to get free pieces because they take up almost no room in the bin. So it's just a matter of finding them out of the mess. Several of these 1x2 grill elements, and then this is that neon orange color that I like. And then some other standard tiles in nice colors. So brown, dark tan, 2x2 round gold, and then that sky blue and orange juice again for our tiles. Our plates, I was able to find these 4x4 round in gold. So I think that's probably from Ninjago, somewhere in there. Some other standard plates like these dark blue and orange juice. Dark orange is nice to get. And then some of these rounded 1x5 kind of bridge elements. I say bridge because they bridge the system and Technic together, kind of. They've got that Technic cross axle in the middle and then those rounded edges. So there's kind of a discussion as like, are these a system plate or a Technic plate? I would say they're kind of both because they have elements of both systems. So yeah, tiles and plates here, not as big lots as I usually try to find, but pretty happy with the selection. Okay, here's some more pieces from the lot that were not bricks or plates or windshields, and we'll look at those after this bunch here. Some pieces of interest here are these new Speed Champions rims in orange juice, yellow, light orange, whatever color. So I'm not sure how available those are in terms of sets. I'm thinking only one or two. Some of these clear blue inverted slopes, that green, trans green piece, other cones of various colors. Some of these small bracket pieces, 1x2, are nice for detail work. Other modified plates and stuff. But the really good things are down here. So 3 of the new Harry Potter candle pieces are harder to find and a pretty recent element. Tan lever, haven't seen a lot of those, but that's going to be an older piece. Hot dog, 1x2 scroll work brick, a white propeller, the light orange walkie-talkie, a few minifigure elements. They actually have the minifigures sold separately, so whatever slips through the cracks is free game for the pick-a-brick stuff, so I do try to find those sometimes. And that's probably kind of the best of the mix here. That's this miscellaneous piece type, I guess you would call it. But yeah, like I was saying, the smaller bricks, you can pack more into the bins for the same amount of money. So I usually try to find small bricks first, and then if there are bigger elements that I want to pick up, it's easier to fit them in the bin if you put those in first. So it's kind of a balance game where you put in the big elements that you know you want first, and then fill in the small elements around that. And if you find a big one, you might almost have to repack just to get it in. But yeah, that's kind of the game I play when I'm at stores like this. Okay, this is probably my favorite subgroup of the lot, are windshields, canopies, windows. Those kind of elements are always nice to be able to pick up for a decent price, especially when there's such a good selection. So seems like JCD and Hobby keeps their thing pretty well stocked. They have a whole little bin of these style of windshields, and then some of these other colors are mixed in by color. So a little bit of digging to find this stuff, but definitely worth it in the end. You know, these older police wall elements, neon orange wall elements. This is a Batman kind of canopy piece right here. Just half of it though, so could be interesting for some asymmetrical builds, that kind of thing. Windows, kind of our new style here. A lot of these still have the glass pane in there, so that's always nice. One of the older style was able to find. And then windshields, the vintage styles abound. So I especially like this 3x4 that starts at that 3x4 base and then narrows to the top. Those were only around for a couple years, I believe. The 2x2 or 2x4 that's too high, it's kind of like a wraparound, like a fish tank kind of shape. Was able to find some of those. And then just our other wall panel elements. Plenty of those to go around as well. So these canopy pieces, I like to get these because they make really good organic looking spaceships. So kind of that sleek look, aerodynamic, you want to break the wind, not necessarily in space, but when you do enter an atmosphere or something, you want to have that good styled cockpit or just the general shaping. So some nice elements here to grab. When it works out, I got two of these little tubs, $10 a piece, and I'm thinking this is going to be close to 200, 300 piece lot. So that works out to 10 cents or less a piece. So for elements like this, that's definitely something to consider. Even though I did have to get a lot of smaller elements to kind of get that balance, it all averages out to pretty decent price for Lego. So the last group here is kind of the oddballs out. The tires are obviously pretty familiar, but you might be wondering what the rest of this stuff is. And these are called flex hoses. The smaller ones maybe could be called flex rods, and then these larger ones have that inner diameter that is large enough for a Technic axle. So they can be connected at the ends and then kind of form more organic shapes for models. They're not widely used in Lego sets, but the first one that I can think of are some of the old Millennium Falcon. The sets use those in clear blue for the engines. So I'm not really sure where, especially this really long dark orange one, I'm not sure what set that would have come from, but these are definitely from older Lego sets, so not as many of these around anymore. I think the shorter ones you would see more often, but these longer ones pretty specialized. So again, kind of surprised to see these in stock on the build wall there, so I grabbed a few. The problem is these start to get a little bit bulky when you're filling up these bins, so I didn't want to get too many. They definitely had some more there that I could have got, but I think this is a good balance just to pick up a few of these in different sizes and kind of grow my collection. That is an area that is maybe lower than some of my other piece types, are these flex tubes. So nice long dark gray one, and then kind of unbent white one. The nice thing about these is they're flexible, so you can kind of bend them into a particular shape that you could use on your model. And if you don't crease it, you'll be able to bend that back and reuse that again at a later date for a different model. And our tires here, tires and wheels, rims are pretty familiar. These gold ones, you can actually see there's a slight difference. These are both molded in the color called pearl gold, but that has undergone some changes in whatever colorant material that is used, mixed in with the ABS plastic to get that color. So it's actually quite distinct here. There's kind of a more warm pearl gold, and then more of a perhaps a metallic feel pearl gold. Some olive green ones, probably from Chima, and then I did get 4 of those new smooth style tires to help balance the additional rims. Smaller Technic ones, and then railroad piece for good measure. This has actually been updated within the last year. I think the Disney train was going to roll out a new type of railroad piece. So that's what I picked up at JCD and Hobby. One of my favorite local Lego stores. It's just secondhand. They do their own pick-a-brick wall, but it's sorted by color. Still a decent selection, but does take a little bit more time to go dig through that for the pieces you want. Of course, there's nothing stopping you from just getting handfuls off the top of the bins, but how are you going to get the cool stuff if you do that? I like to invest a little bit of time and get the pieces that are definitely make it worth the trip for $10 a small bucket. Especially with this kind of pieces, you can't go wrong. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time on Brick System Brothers.